Hello, welcome to Facebook Live. I am Giridhar Jha from Outlook India. In continuation of our coverage of the elections to 5 states, we are back again to discuss the assembly election results and their possible fallouts. Discussing the results, we have with us veteran political journalist Mr. Pranay Sharma, who is also Chief of Bureau of Outlook magazine, to my left, and to my right is Mr. Sanjay Basak, Chief of Bureau Asian Age newspaper. To begin with, Pranay, I would like to ask you what takeaway these results, what can be the takeaway of these results?
See, because the final result is yet to come, we would have to wait for that. But as it seems now that the Congress is going to win Rajasthan because the gap is quite a bit,
Yeah.
and it will be very surprising if the BJP manages to, change that trend. So Congress getting Rajasthan, but that was more or less what was being predicted by most people.
Yeah, of course.
What will be interesting to see is what's happening in Madhya Pradesh, particularly, and also in a way Chhattisgarh. So if it's a 3-0 for Congress, obviously it's a lot of enthusiasm, not only on Rahul's leadership, but rank and file as such gets enthused, encouraged by what's happening. And also the fringe parties, the others who are not directly in the contest, they would start looking at Rahul a little more seriously, not only the Congress party, people I'm talking about beyond. So, but in the case if it's 2-1, like, or 3-2,
In Hindi heartland.
in the Hindi heartland. I'm not considering
Majoritarian.
Telangana, and those are two separate ones. But if it's 3-2 in favor of Congress, still I think, they will have some kind of a, they can talk about, that they have got something more which was not being thought of earlier.
Yeah. So Sanjay, do you consider these results, if all these 3 states go to Congress, would you consider these results as a positive vote for the Congress, or is more because of the anti-incumbency?
Yeah, before I come to this, I will say all this entire the trend shows, which we have been talking, and Pranay will agree with me, is the agrarian distress against this government. You see the rural belts, Chhattisgarh,
Yeah.
Madhya Pradesh, even Rajasthan. So the rural votes have voted overwhelmingly in favor of Congress.
Yeah.
If you see, Yogi Adityanath did a massive tour rallies in Chhattisgarh,
Yeah.
but even in the central Chhattisgarh, which is Hindu heartland, it hasn't resulted into any positive vote for the BJP. So that has been rejected by the voters. So again, you see, and the tribal, Bastar again, Congress has done very well in Chhattisgarh. So same, and what I will say, even after 15 years of anti-incumbency, it's Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who has still managed, he's hanging there, it's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's a seesaw battle. Yeah.
Seesaw battle. So, but then again, so my first thing is that farmers are going to decide the Lok Sabha election, if you ask me. Rural India is going to decide the what I said, the Lok Sabha election, which and even again in Madhya Pradesh, if you see, what is clicked for the Congress is the loan waiver and free electricity. These are two major announcements they made,
Yeah.
which BJP hasn't made. So that has really worked in favor of Congress, though in spite it's a seesaw battle. So it has worked in favor of Congress. And as you said, will it work in favor of Congress, you said, in Lok Sabha? That's
Yeah,
what you
of
said.
course.
Yeah, like Pranay said, it's the emergence of Rahul Gandhi. Today is the day when Rahul Gandhi took over as a party president. Today is the day. So it's a huge gift for him, and he's emerging, and BJP will have to now take him seriously. But having said that, you also see you cannot write away the regional players, the others.
Yeah.
BSP, if Congress had a pact with the BSP in Madhya Pradesh, which failed, then Congress would have been comfortably been across the simple majority. So BSP has emerged as a major player. SP again, it had no births in seats in Madhya Pradesh now. SP is, I think, leading in 2 seats, or they're going to win 2 seats. So SP, BSP, Ajit Yogi again in Chhattisgarh. So the others, the third, the so-called regional players. The regional players are going to flex its muscle, and Congress again, I think, despite this performance, Rahul Gandhi cannot ignore the muscle flexing of the regional players. That's what I particularly feel.
But Pranay, do you think that these results will consolidate the position of Rahul Gandhi and more regional players? They will accept him as the prime ministerial candidate of the coalition if any coalition comes up against
I
Modi?
don't know whether, it's rather too early to talk about a prime ministerial
Absolutely,
candidate, but where people had doubts about Rahul's leadership, I think much of that will be taken care of. That yes, he is more, because what did we hear every time? That is he serious about what, leading the party? Or because he often vanishes. But this time we saw that he was consistently on the ground, trying to contact people, trying to meet voters, trying to lead.
I mean, just to cut in, he had 82 rallies. 82 rallies altogether.
So that seriousness which both the party rank and file and those outside, as I was mentioning, for the party rank and file, for the Congress cadres, they will see him as, okay, this leader is serious. At the same time, the other coalition partners or possible coalition partners of the Congress in the forthcoming Lok Sabha elections, they will start looking at Rahul. Yes, we can do business with him. Whether he becomes a prime ministerial candidate or not, I think that's a little early.
But still, this time, as you said, that Rahul crisscrossed all these constituencies, 82 rallies and all. Congress also put up a united fight in these states. I mean, Kamal Nath and Jyotiraj Scindia.
No, but I'll disagree with that because see, Rajasthan, Congress, and there was a massive factionalism. That's why you see Vasundhara Raje was supposed to be wiped out completely.
Okay.
She has managed to held her ground because there was ticket distribution, there was a problem about the ticket distribution, and there was a factionalism in Congress. Yeah, but Madhya Pradesh, they have worked. I mean, there was the factionalism was much less in Madhya Pradesh as compared to Rajasthan. So that's one of the reasons they're saying. I mean, that's the analysis is that Vasundhara Raje managed to hold up front because of the poor ticket distribution factionalism between Gehlot and Sachin Pilot.
But is it also because, this is my question to you, is it also because she was spearheading the party's campaign, and a lot of things, irrespective of what or the way we saw, how her government performed from Delhi or elsewhere, but a lot of people say that many of the schemes, especially those related to women, did really work. And therefore, she continued to have that kind of a...
Yeah, Pranay, if you remember Ashok Gehlot as Chief Minister. He was called the Chief Minister who really backed reforms.
Absolutely.
And Sheila Dikshit, another Chief Minister who really backed development and reforms. And whenever they backed reforms and whenever Ashok Gehlot lost. And India Today, if I remember correctly, India Today had put Rajasthan as one of the most, developed state or what I mean, it's one of the most, state number one or something like that. So she has worked. But what went against her was, I suppose, like last time I went to Rajasthan, there was a lot of unpopularity. She was not being popular. Maybe that was because of the arrogance or whatever, but there was a perception that she's not popular, she's not doing enough. And how much is enough, we really don't know.
So connect with the people was...
Yeah, connect with the people was like Shivraj Singh Chauhan say. He's like Raman Singh. It's not that Chhattisgarh there's not been much of development work in Chhattisgarh. But the connect with the people, like Mamaji, like Shivraj Singh Chauhan, his connect with the people was much, much better than, he was going to the mosque, he was going to the people, and he was perpetually connecting with the people, and that's paying dividends right now. Whereas, yes, Vasundhara Raje has her royal arrogance and all that. We cannot ignore that. And and another thing we must say, Rajasthan, though she might be losing, but Amit Shah did not focus in Madhya Pradesh. Amit Shah said that I'm going to focus in Rajasthan. So Amit Shah had left Madhya Pradesh entirely to Shivraj, and he had focused completely in Rajasthan. Maybe that could be because Amit Shah is known for his booth level management and all that stuff. So that might have also have helped. So yeah, I mean you're also right that like we say, at times reforms and development work this doesn't translate into votes. Yeah, that could be it.
But that's also a history of Rajasthan, because they
Yeah,
don't
5 years
really
again, 5 years
result
this
in,
side, 5 years that
yeah,
side. Yeah, that's
right.
absolutely right.
Unlike Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, where they've had 3 terms, and it could have
Successive,
been,
yeah.
Yeah.
which is very unusual. I mean, for them and to have gone into a fourth one, we don't know yet. I mean, the results are
Yeah.
not, although the final results are still
See, I
coming out.
suppose as we speak, both the Congress and BJP leaders are all they are now looking for all possible allies. They've begun
Absolutely.
talking like we are talking, and they're holding their own parlors out there.
Shopping for the-
shopping for the.
So every time elections to these states are held, usually less than 6 months before the general elections, they are billed as semi-finals. So do you think that this time also it's a kind of referendum on the policies and performance of the
So
Modi
obviously,
government?
because of late what we saw that they were sweeping most of the states.
Yeah.
The BJP-led government, be it in the northeast, be it in other parts of India. Now, this is a heartland. If here the Congress does well, it will give time for both the BJP to do some serious introspection. At the same time, it rejuvenates the Congress, which I again and again I'm emphasizing, and also those which can be a possible coalition partner, which can be a possible ally of the Congress-led whatever. I mean, I am not talking about a government as such, but an alliance against the BJP that I think will take a better shape after the elections, and the Congress's leadership will be taken a little more seriously.
Suppose BJP under Shivraj Singh is not able to scrape through in Madhya Pradesh and all 3 states in the heartland.
Yeah, all 3 states.
All 3
3-0.
states go to the Congress. It will certainly be a wake-up call for the BJP, and do you think they will have to
absolutely.
redraw the
even
strategy?
even if Madhya Pradesh goes to BJP, even if Shivraj managed to win your Madhya Pradesh, it should be a wake-up call for BJP. Why this election? Gujarat should have been the wake-up call for BJP. The way they scraped through,
Yeah.
and he did. This time, I think Prime Minister Modi, he did around 32 rallies or so in the 3 states.
Yeah.
And in Gujarat alone, he did over 34 rallies in Gujarat alone. Even then, they just managed to scrape through. So that is a wake-up call for them. And again another thing, you see the Dalit factor. See, Dalit factor has also hurt them hugely. Look, emergence of Mayawati was finished. Now she could be the kingmaker in Madhya Pradesh, and of course Congress might not need her in Chhattisgarh, but she's got 5 seats in Chhattisgarh, 7 seats, and 7 seats is now 4 seats, and 5 seats in Madhya Pradesh is huge. So she's also on a comeback trail. So the Dalit factor is going to hurt if the BJP doesn't do it, despite their Ambedkar and all that thing they're doing on We Are Ambedkar. Dalits per se has not been in favor of BJP.
They don't identify.
Yeah. And because the violence, you see, the cow slaughter and cow vigilantism, Dalits were in Gujarat and all that happened. These things were there. So Dalit factor is going to hurt them, and the rural India is going to but this time even Congress has got votes in the urban sector also. So it's going to hurt them. And see, Modi magic hasn't worked. Let me be very clear about this time. They perpetually bank on the Modi thing. Modi wo jayega to ho jayega types. But this time nothing worked. I mean, they might start talking like Congress is a collective failure because you don't blame the family. So but every time it's Modi. Their face is Modi. Let's be very clear. Rajasthan, it was Modi. Yogi Adityanath did rallies and all that. But the Modi magic this time did not work at all. Because I was talking to someone in Chhattisgarh, they said, the Modi thing is not working anymore. Modi ji is not working anymore. Because in Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, you'll see that in majority of the posters, Modi was missing. Modi's face was missing. So that thing, of course, in the popularity level, quotient and all that, he's reportedly much, much ahead than Rahul Gandhi, but somewhere it's taking a hit.
But is it also fair, right? I mean, because states have their own dynamics, they have their own set of questions, grievances against the leader at the regional level. To bring in the Prime Minister, as we see that, I mean, his popularity at the national level remains, quite substantial. Whether how much of that will be affected by this, we don't know.
No, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. But the thing is that, see, my thing is that a honeymoon period is always there. Because if you see last time when the BJP won Chhattisgarh, BJP won Madhya Pradesh, BJP won Rajasthan, BJP won Lok Sabha.
They won 192
Yeah.
seats out of 210 in
Yeah.
Hindi heartland.
So the moment they won that, they won the Lok Sabha. Now let's come to UP. Now 73 seats you have won. Now look at the assembly election, the by-poll results and all that, you have come down. So do you think BJP with this kind of a trend, which is showing the trend, will BJP able to manage even 60 seats? Even your outlook, you gave them, BJP given what, I don't know, 30 to 40 seats. So if you get hit, come down by 50 seats,
Where do they make them up?
where do you make it?
But many times we have seen that always assembly elections results have not had a bearing.
That is what the point that I was trying to
2004, for instance.
True.
Then BJP won all these states and still Bajpayee went
Absolutely.
on to lose. So, do you think that elections, assembly elections and Lok Sabha elections are fought completely different ball games, fought on different issues?
See, there are certain things which I think will matter. There are a number of schemes that the Modi government has taken and they're trying to pursue. How people see them, some of them have started bearing fruit, some of them are yet to take a long term. It's going to. If people think that this is a government which is trying sincerely, it is with us. I think the next election, 2019 election, will be fought in a way. This is a gamble that the BJP is going to play. That it's Modi versus the rest.
Yeah.
So if that
Sympathy
works
factor.
for
They'll try to evoke that sympathy factor like Abhimanyu.
so I want to do things for you, people are not allowing me.
Yeah.
If that works for them, then I think, all these, the people say that let's give them a chance. Then it's going to work. Then the state assembly, what we are looking at, what we are discussing, may not really have that kind of an impact. But all that it does is that it rejuvenates the Congress and the other non-BJP, non-Congress parties who were having second thoughts will now look at Congress a little more seriously.
So this close fight has certainly made the 2019 general elections very, very interesting.
And also, I just want to add one more point where this what Pranay has made. So I just want to see in India, like I'm sure you cannot take the caste cauldron out of these elections. So if you see, like Mamta's formula, 1:1, where the renewal party leads, if the Congress plays a facilitator, say in UP Congress comes down, let SP, BSP, Ajit Singh's party, they take the lead and Congress confines itself to 4 to 5 seats, I think this is going to bear fruit. 1:1, I have a feeling it's going to, like in Bengal, the Congress plays a facilitator. Let's Trinamool takes the lead and CPM comes into the. It's an opposite. See, they are all it's true. They are all ganging up against Modi. And if this works, the opposition unity works at the caste level, at the regional level, then BJP has got a tough task ahead.
Thank you, Pranay. Thank you, Sanjay. We will be back on Facebook Live very soon. Thank you very much.